Welcome everyone to our council meeting. I'll ask everyone to be upstanding for our opening prayer. Almighty God, we ask that you be present at this meeting to assist us in our service to the community through local government. We pray that our decisions will be wise and taken with goodwill and clear conscience. Amen. Councillor and officer presence at the meeting. We have all councillors in attendance. We have our Chief Executive Officer, our Director of Infrastructure and Environment, Director of Community and Planning, and our Director of Corporate and Organisational Development. Apologies and granting of leave. Disclosures of conflict of interest. 5's confirmation of minutes from a special council meeting on the 21st of February and our ordinary council meeting on the 28th of February. Recommendation in front of you. Would someone like to move motion? Councillor Dickshay.
Thank you. I'd like to move that the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 21st of February 2024 and the ordinary council meeting held on the 28th of February 2024 be confirmed.
Thanks, Councillor Dickshay. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Scales. All those in favour? Carried. Petitions and joint letters. Nil. Public question time. And I'll hand to our CEO. We have one public question time question.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. We do have one submission for public question time from Ms Kate Kirk-Duffy in relation to the Tallangatta Expo. The question is, will Tauranga Shire Council contribute $4,000 to the 2025 Tallangatta Expo as part payment for the Wild Action Zoo display, in addition to the annual in-kind support that is provided for the event? The activity and benefits to the wider community of Wild Action Zoo has been described through a previous question put to the February council meeting. Councillor Wortman indicated that the budget had been set for the 2023-24 and no opportunity was available for this financial year. It would be greatly appreciated if the amount of $4,000 could be allocated to the event in the 2024-25 budget. The Rotary Club of Tallangatta wishes to reinforce its appreciation for the ongoing in-kind support that is provided for the Tallangatta Expo by Tauranga Shire Council.
Very good. Council response to that. My feeling is that we take that on board for our budget deliberations, which we're in the middle of at the moment, and could we let Ms Kate Kirk-Duffy know that that's where we'll be up to?
Resolution.
Do we need a resolution for that?
It's probably
Righto, we better do that then. Would someone like to? Councillor Wortman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to refer this request to our budget deliberations for the 24-25 budget.
Very good. Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Scales. Anyone opposed? All in favour? Carried. Informal meeting of councillors. The meeting records from the informal meetings of councillors held on the 14th of February 2024, 28th of February 2024 were not available for the meeting and will instead be presented at the April meeting. So, would someone like to, we've got a recommendation there, would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation that the information be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dickshay. All in favour? Carried. Organisational improvement, audit and risk committee self-assessment. If we're happy to take that as read. Any questions or clarification? Someone like to move the motion?
Sorry.
Yep.
Could I just make a comment? I just see one of the questions that the audit committee was asked was, do they feel that the committee that's made up, their skills and that, they feel very, they feel that they've got the skill level to cover all parts of the required job, and I think that's very important. Yeah.
I'd add to that we've been very lucky with the appointments we've had lately to be able to get a very broad range of skill sets on that committee. Any further? Someone like to move a motion? Councillor Dickshay.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the Audit and Risk Committee's annual self-assessment be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Dickshay. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Would you like to speak to that at all? No. Unhappy. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. No one against. (9.2) CEO leave request.
Mr Mayor, I think I might leave the meeting at this point as I have a direct conflict.
Being the CEO, that's probably correct. So the purpose of this report is to seek approval for the Chief Executive Officer to take annual leave over the period specified in the report and to appoint an acting Chief Executive Officer for that period. So the leave period being Monday the 15th of April to Friday the 10th of May 2024 inclusive. The Chief Executive Officer has recommended that for the period of 15th of April to the 26th of April 2024, Ms Amanda Pagan, Director of Community and Planning, be appointed to the role of Acting Chief Executive Officer. And 2, for the period 29th of April 2024 to the 10th of May 2024, Ms Narelle Taylor, Director of Corporate and Organisational Development, be appointed to the role of Acting Chief Executive Officer. Are there any questions on that report? No? Would someone like to move a motion then? Councillor Dickshay.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Dickshay. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Dickshay, do you wish to speak to that at all? Councillor Anderson. No one else. Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I just think this recommendation just shows the skill level we've got within our senior management team, and it's terrific that we've got staff that can fill into the acting CEO role.
Yep, I agree. And our Director of Community and Planning, and no, our right, we might have a little typo there, do we? I've just seen it now too. Point 3 in the recommendation says to appoint Ms Narelle Taylor, Director of Community and Planning, to the position, and it'll be Ms Narelle Taylor, Director of Corporate and Organisational Development. And I'd like to, if voted that way, congratulate her on the first chance to step up into that next role. So, if there's nothing further, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Congratulations on your first run. We'll see if we can get a CEO back. 9.3 is action sheet reports. And again, if you're happy, I think we can take those as read. Any questions or clarification on the report? Someone like to move a motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the report be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Scales. Councillor Anderson, or would you like to? Councillor Scales. No. Anyone else speak to the motion? No. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? No one against? Carried. 9.4 quarterly performance reporting graphs. Again, I think if you're happy to take that one as read, if there's any questions or clarification on those graphs, anything councillors like to ask? No. Would someone like to move a motion? Ooh, I wasn't looking. Councillor Wortman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the report be noted.
And a seconder. Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Councillor Scales. Thought he was going to get upset for a minute. Thank you. Anyone like to speak to that report at all? No. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? No one against? Carried. Item 10 is bushfire relief and recovery. There are no reports for bushfire relief and recovery. Community wellbeing. 11.1, supporting the LGBTIQA plus community, and I'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This report is a report following the previous July resolution in 2023 regarding support of the LGBTQIA plus community. A number of months ago, we conducted an independent piece of research that resulted in a report. The research was conducted by Sal Kimber, who identifies as part of the LGBTQIA plus community and grew up within Tauranga. The report did identify major concerns from the community regarding their ongoing safety and sustained discrimination, and as such she made a range of recommendations for the council. In general, it's worth summarising that all of the 55 participants that were part of that report really were looking to council to provide some clear leadership, and that was the understanding with which the recommendations have been provided to council confidentially. The recommendation is as noted, and it's worth saying that one of the objectives of the council plan is for Tauranga Council to be the ideal place to be and to encourage our diverse communities to feel safe and enjoy their life however they may identify. So within that, I hope that you're able to embrace the recommendation as it is presented.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification on that report? Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification on that report, in case you didn't hear that one? Nothing? Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the recommendation, as presented, please. 1, 2 and 3.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson.
No.
Do I have a seconder? Ooh, Councillor Scales might have got it. Councillor Anderson, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, thanks, Mr Mayor. Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Inclusion of all our residents is a really important role for councillors, I feel, and we should lead in this area, and I'd like to thank Sal Kimber for her work and representing a minority group. As with all groups, let's all just accept each other, and we'll lead the way, I think. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Scales?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This is the first step in us really looking at, inclusivity for the LGBTQIA+ community. We know there's a lot of differences of opinion on this. However, it's important that we take these initial steps, and I look forward to seeing the future plan. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak against or for the motion? No? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. That's a long way down. 11.2, Corryong Skate Park construction tender. And again, I'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report is the result of a procurement process that was undertaken for the construction of the Corryong Skate Park late last year. Just by way of background, the Corryong Skate Park was a project that was funded by the National Resilience and Recovery Agency through the Black Summer Bushfires program, and the community has been heavily involved in the placement, design, and the sort of future look and feel of the skate park, which looks fantastic. So the recommendation following a procurement assessment of the tenders that were submitted is to award the contract to Haley Constructions, and the remaining part of the recommendation is as presented.
Questions or clarification, councillors? Board? No? Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Scales?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Happy to move the officer's recommendation.
Thanks, Councillor Scales. A seconder, Councillor Wortman. Councillor Scales, would you like to speak to that?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just to state that it's fantastic to see another contract being awarded, another project being delivered out of all of our huge capital works program that we've got. So it'll be great to see this project delivered for the Upper Murray community.
Thanks, Councillor Scales. Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, totally agree with Councillor Scales. Another terrific project that's come out of the bushfire recovery money. But the best part, as the officer, as the director mentioned, a lot of community input into this project, and it's great that the community's really embraced this project, and I think we're going to get a great outcome.
Anyone like to speak against or for the motion? Councillor Dickshay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like to pass on my thanks to the Deputy Director of Community for the efforts that he's put into seeing this project through. They've gone from a proposed site to identifying a better site, engaging with young people and others, and I think it's a great effort to get to this point, and we will be thrilled with the result.
Anyone else? I'd probably like to add that for me it's a little exciting when you walk down the street and the kids are talking about a new skate park that's getting built and hasn't even turned a sod of dirt yet, and they're still talking about it. So I think that's a really exciting thing for our youth moving forward. So if there's nothing further, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? None against. Carried. Uh, 12's asset management. 12.1 petition response. Corryong Hanson Street West redevelopment. And I'll call on our Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This report provides information to assist Council with its deliberations regarding the petition and joint letter, which were tabled and accepted in the 20th of February 2024 Council meeting, regarding a number of concerns around the Corryong CBD and Hanson Street West designs for projects. And the recommendation is as presented.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification on the report? Councillor Scales.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just a quick question to our Director through you. Is it true that the reduction of a speed limit to 40 kilometres an hour on the Murray Valley Highway between Lebanon Street and Thomas Lane is just an urban myth that's going around and that we have not considered that at Council?
Through you, Mr Mayor. Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Any further questions or clarification? Someone like to move a motion? Councillor Scales.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that number 1, the petitioners and signatories to the joint letter be thanked for their submissions and feedback. Point 2, the concerns raised at point 1 of the petition regarding the Hanson Street West project are noted, and further communication and community consultation will be undertaken as soon as possible in relation to the design options available for this project. Point 3, the petitioners be advised that there is no resolution of Council to reduce the speed limit to 40 kilometres an hour on the Murray Valley Highway between Lebanon Street and Thomas Lane, Corryong. And point 4, the concerns in relation to the CBD Streetscape project included at point 3 of the petition are noted, and the petitioners be advised that these matters were considered during Council's deliberations at the Special Council meeting on 10th of January 2024, and Council's resolution includes the development of a plan for parking across the CBD. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Scales. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wortman. Councillor Scales, would you like to speak to that?
I think I've said enough. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, we really appreciate the views of the petitioners, and as it says in the recommendation, that there'll be more consultation with the community. The only thing I'd like to say is this is a very big project, Hanson Street West, but it's all part of the bigger picture for Corryong. Like it ties in with the heavy vehicle bypass and the CBD upgrade. And look, this is going to change Corryong into the future for many years to come. And so again, I say it's very important that we have this community consultation on this part of the project, and I look forward to it.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Anyone else like to speak against or for the motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to ask that all residents who are involved, or not necessarily involved, but in Corryong, please attend and understand what's happening and give us feedback so we know where your feelings are at. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. If there's nothing further, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Thirteen's land use planning. 13.1's quarterly land use planning report. And I'll call on our Director of Community and Planning.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is the quarterly report for land use planning permit activity across the municipality. I just wanted to draw your attention to a few statistics that are worth highlighting. The first is over the course of the period we did have 54 new permits to date, and out of those 54 in the last periods of last quarter, 100% were processed within statutory timeframes, which is fabulous to see. I also wanted to draw your attention to the 7 bushfire recovery dwellings, which are the last dwellings, bar one, to be rebuilt, that are currently being assessed, and hoping to have outcomes for all of those cases shortly. In addition to that, I also wanted to draw your attention to the range of some of perhaps newer types of applications that we're also receiving, particularly in relation to liquor licensing, that we're starting to see largely to do with new businesses or businesses wanting to expand. So it's just great to see some of that activity happening, and looking forward to other businesses potentially expanding as well into the future. The recommendation is as presented.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification? Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to move that the report be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. A seconder? Councillor Dickshay. You don't know. Councillor Wortman, would you like to speak to you?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I'd just like to commend the Director on that report. It's a lot of good news in that report, and it's very good for our Shire and businesses growing, so and meeting our statutory timeframe, so that's fantastic.
Councillor Dickshay. Anyone else like to speak against or for the Councillor Scales?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Talking for the motion, I raised it as you were saying against. My apologies. Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the planning team on achieving 100% underneath the statutory timeframes. We do know that most of the time it's not actually on us that we go beyond those statutory timeframes. It's actually usually referral bodies that hold up the approval process. I'd also, it's quite interesting to note the increase in liquor licence applications. Everyone knows my background as a publican in the past, but it's great to see that business enthusiasm coming back, especially after COVID and the amount of businesses that did actually close down. We were quite lucky in Towing that we didn't lose too many as compared to, say, the Melbourne CBD. But it's great to see that excitement around business is opening up. And I'm sure there's a lot of others that don't necessarily want a liquor licence. However, it's really good to see that. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Scales. Anyone else like to speak to that? No, we'll put the motion. All those in favour? None against? Carried. 14's Environmental Sustainability, 14.1 Circular Economy and Environment Report. And I'll call on our Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This report is to provide information on environmental sustainability activities throughout the Shire from the period of September 2023 to December 2023. Worth noting in the report is the transition to the 3-bin system, which will include the food and garden organics bin, which will be a curbside collection service that Council is offering, and that will begin in June 2024. And the recommendation is as noted.
Thank you very much. Any questions or clarification? No? Someone like to move a motion, please? Councillor Dickshay.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that the report be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Dickshay. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wortman. Councillor Dickshay, would you like to speak to that at all?
No, thank you.
Councillor Wortman.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, look, as we all know, this is a major change to our waste and recycling services, and I'd just like to make note of the point in the report. To assist residents with the transition, Council has invested a significant education and information program that will commence this month, and it will include information on what waste should go in each bin, a magnetic collection calendar, stickers for the bins, and face-to-face sessions. And I think this is, like I say, it's such a big change. This information is going to be very important to our communities. Yep.
Thanks, Councillor Wortman. Anyone else like to speak against or for the motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just for the motion, and just to make, and I'm guessing this will come out in our advertising as well, the container deposit scheme and the ability for committees and different groups that they can actually do the deposit scheme and earn some money for their groups, which is a great opportunity because it's very hard in most groups to fundraise. So it's a great opportunity for people who'd like to take it up and learn some more information on it.
I agree completely. Thanks, Councillor Anderson.
Thank you.
Anything further? Councillor Scales.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'll just note that there has been a bit of negative comments floating around on Facebook regarding the change that's coming up. Some of it says it's been done a bit clandestine almost. Now, it was right there in our council minutes, probably 6 to 8 months ago now, when we awarded the contract on exactly what was happening, that this is coming in through the state government as well. It's not a decision we're making. However, the commentary is around the red bin only being collected fortnightly once this new process comes into place, but it's very important to note that the FOGO bin will be collected weekly, and it is the FOGO bin that actually contains most of household rubbish. Thank you.
The smelly stuff, anyway. Anyone else like to speak to the motion? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? No one against? Carried. 15's Economic and Tourism Development. There are no Economic and Tourism Development reports. Council reports. Councillor Anderson, would you like to speak to your report? Would you like to speak to that?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just briefly, we had the Australia Day Awards in Bellbridge this year, which was fantastic. And we were privileged to have some new music provided by a new resident in Bethenga, which was amazing. And we had that many nominations, we actually had to have certificate of appreciation. So that was very exciting to see, and a couple of family members were awarded as well. I won't go through all the names, you'll see in the report as well. So it was terrific, run again by the Rotary Club, and fantastic breakfast for all to enjoy. And we had a great turnout, there was over 120 people, so it was a great day. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do we need to?
Report be accepted.
Yep. So we need a mover that the report be accepted. Councillor Scales.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, happy to move that the report be accepted.
No problem. Seconder. Councillor Dickshay. We'll put the motion. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Urgent business. don't have any urgent business. Committee minutes, Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes. Happy to take those as read? I think so. Any questions or clarification on the Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes? No. Would someone like to move a motion? Councillor Dickshay.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, that the unconfirmed Audit and Risk Committee minutes and resolutions from the 16th of February and the 26th of February this year be noted.
Thanks, Councillor Dickshay. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Anderson. Councillor Dickshay, anything you'd like to speak to? Councillor Anderson. Anyone else like to speak to the motion? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. No one's against. 19's council policies. So we've got one policy that's been put in for review. So feedback should be provided to the officer by the 24th of April, which is curbside refuse and recycling collection policy. Any questions or clarification on that at this stage? Someone like to move a motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Anderson. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Scales. Anything to speak to that at all? No. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Sealing of documents, nil. Confidential. We do have a couple of confidential. Would someone like to close the meeting? To the press and public, yes. I was going to read that somewhere. It was there in somewhere. Councillor Scales.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that we move into confidential and close the meeting to the press and the public.
Thanks, Councillor Scales. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dickshay. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. And welcome back. I'd like to thank the Director for that report, and I'd now like to ask one of our councillors if we could move a motion on the Environmental Health Services Contract Award. Councillor Scales.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that number 1, Kerno Environmental Health, be awarded a contract for the provision of environmental health services for a period of 2 years with contract value of up to $462,666.84, excluding GST. That the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to sign and seal the contract in accordance with Local Law Number 1, Common Seal and Miscellaneous Penalties, and the Chief Executive Officer be authorised to approve contract variations up to the value of the total allocated project budget. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Scales. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dickshay. Councillor Scales, would you like to speak to that at all? Councillor Dickshay.
No, thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak against or for that report? We'll put the motion. All those in favour? None against? Carried. And that'll conclude our meeting. So thank you very much